welcome. Thank you for joining us. It's Monday, March 25th. You're watching News 2. I'm April Knight. Topping our stories tonight, after the 2017 hurricanes damaged the Myra Keating Smith Hospital building in Estates Zanenburg, and that's on St. John, the hospital's operations was forced to move to the De Castro Clinic in Cruz Bay and share quarters with the Department of Health. Now, 18 months after the storms, with the new modular hospital units finally installed on St. John, the MKS Interim Health Facility is finally accepting patients. Here's more. It took a long time after the storms, but the new modular hospital units on St. John are finally open. The 3,000 square foot structure sits on the parking lot of the old Myra Keating location in Estates Zanenburg. It's a massively scaled down substitute for the old building, but hospital officials say it's enough.
So it is a significant change. However, despite the smallness of the facility, we're well equipped. We still have the capability of providing emergency care services to the residents of the island of St. John. We can still provide services to pediatric patients, the elderly, the general population, as well as maternal health care for expectant mothers.
The modular hospital has an admitting section, a triage room, 3 exam rooms, and an emergency room that can accommodate 2 patients, just like the old facility.
So this is our emergency room, which we are very pleased with. A lot of this equipment is actually back from the old Myra Keating building, and we were able to salvage a lot.
There's also a radiology room with mobile equipment, a locked pharmacy, a laboratory, and 2 observation rooms for patients that they need to keep an eye on. In the back of the structure is an ambulance bay to accommodate the island's 2 ambulances manned by EMS personnel. Myra Keating staff said they're glad to finally have their own space again.
We still have our full gamut of doctors, those who lived with us prior to the storm. They're still here with us. We have a full nursing complement.
There are always 2 registered nurses, 1 physician, 2 PCTs, patient care technicians, so they do lab work, blood draws, things like that, 1 nursing assistant, and then the rest is administrative staff.
They see roughly 20 to 30 patients a day for a variety of concerns.
We do everything from pediatric care, newborn visits, small bedside minor procedures. And we really don't have shootings. We're very fortunate for that. But we do get a lot of stab wounds, but we've been pretty lucky.
But they do have limitations in the health services they can provide.
If the patient is critical, they go directly to St. Thomas. If they're fairly stable, then they'll come to us. We have delivered babies before. We prefer that. We prefer they go to St. Thomas because we don't have an operating room, so if they need a C-section, we also don't have an OBGYN or certified nurse midwife, so it's safer for the patient and the baby to go over there.
But all in all, it's been a smooth transition, and we're going to continue to work out the bugs, as we say, moving into a new facility, and we look forward to the ultimate, and that's the brand new Myra Keating Smith Health Center.
We'll have more on the fate of the old Myra Keating Smith building in a later newscast. Well, the early voting period for the special election is over. The last day was on Friday, March 22nd, and is already not looking good for the pro-reapportionment camp. Unless by some miracle, more than 20,000 people come out to vote on Saturday, the initiative is looking like a lost cause. News 2's James Gardner has the latest numbers.
Early voting for the 2019 special election on the reapportionment plan ended in the territory on Friday, with under 2,000 people participating. The final vote was 1,967, with the breakdown per district as followed: St. Thomas, 781, St. Croix, 1,089, and St. John, 97. This is a bad sign for the reapportionment plan because it can only take effect if the initiative is approved by a majority of persons voting and if a majority of voters in the Virgin Islands vote on the initiative. The total number of registered voters in the territory is 51,741. This is not the only hurdle for the plan. Just like the plan has its opponents like Mario and Mary Moorhead, it also has its opponents. One of them being Senator Janelle Sarah, who believes the plan is flawed.
I think it's a flawed initiative. I understand the intent of the initiative, but it boils down to one, the fact that the census data from 2010 was not included in the reapportionment. There are a myriad of reasons why I think it's flawed, but I believe that if it passes, it faces a lot of legal challenges, and the reapportionment initiative is subject to the same constitutional scrutiny as any legislative action that we take in the chambers.
According to the senator, the apportionment has to be done by a population basis due to the one man, one vote doctrine and the equal protection clause, and thinks the initiative is an overreaction due to how people felt about the senators after the storms.
There's a one man, one vote doctrine, first of all, and then you have the equal protection clause. And Reynolds v. Sims indicate that the equal protection clause, under that, any apportionment must be done on a population basis. So the mere fact that we drafted a reapportionment, split the island in half, decide 2 district senators, 6 here, 1 for St. John, 6 as large, it was just like an arbitrary thought process, and I don't think it keeps the territory in the best interest. I think this proposal is flawed, and I think it was rooted in the outcome of the storms. People were upset, looking for the Senate, not realizing that FEMA takes the lead on emergency responses.
Sauer says the way to get change and accountability is not through reapportionment, but instead by finally finishing the Constitution.
The proponents keep saying that they want to go back to the 1966 Republican form of government. We do live in a republic, and in 1966 we were more colonial then than we are now. We got the right to self-govern in 1970, so it makes no sense to go back to 1966. But what this points out is that we really need to have a constitution. Everything that we're trying to fix now should be in a constitution. We have to, at some point, on a referendum, determine what our status is going to be. A commonwealth, if we want statehood, if we want independence. Do you want to remain an unincorporated territory of the United States? And solve that in a document.
Like a binding referendum?
Yeah, binding referendum.
For News 2, this is James Gardner.
We'll keep you updated. Meanwhile, a St. Croix man was arrested last week Thursday for carrying ammunition illegally. On March 21st at around 7 p.m., police officers under the Criminal Investigation Bureau and Special Operations Bureau went to the Harbor View housing community in Christiansted looking for one Purnell A. Towers Jr. They found out that Towers was inside one of the apartments to which they were given permission to enter. According to the police report, officers found Towers, who they said was in possession of the illegal ammunition. He was placed under arrest and brought to the Wilbur Francis Command, where he was booked and processed. His bail was set at $10,000. He couldn't pay it, so he was remanded to the Golden Grove pending his advice of rights hearing. On St. John again, residents were dismayed when Gift Hill School shared news of an act of vandalism on the school's ball field. And apparently this was not the first time. A school staff member reported that the night before, somebody drove a vehicle through the gates and into the soccer field, knocked down the soccer nets and damaged the surface of the field by driving around in circles. There are unconfirmed reports that the suspect has been apprehended by police after attempting to flee. We're still waiting for confirmation from the VIPD on that. Meanwhile, photos showing the damage have been shared widely on social media. A GoFundMe page was set up by Stan Anderson on Sunday evening to help repair the field, and that page raised roughly $2,000 of its $10,000 goal, and that's in less than 24 hours. For more information, you can go to www.gofundme.com/repair Gift Hill Field destroyed by vandalism. Coming up next, highlights from Afternoon on the Green, plus more on the relocation of the JFK Housing residents when we come back. Welcome back. A St. John nonprofit that was born after the 2017 hurricanes continues to help the island prepare for disaster. On Saturday, Love City Strong deployed its members to 2 locations on the island to give away thousands of water bottles ahead of the hurricane season. The distribution points were packed early, and according to Love City Strong's foundation administrator Ryan West, by the end of the day, more than 28,000 water bottles were given out to St. John residents, among them members of the vulnerable population of St. John, like the elderly. And this is only one aspect of their year-round disaster preparedness project. Here's more.
Today we had water distribution at 2 sites of some bottled water that came into our possession, and rather than let it go to waste, we decided as part of our ongoing hurricane preparedness project that we do all year long to just kind of hand it out and tell some people about preparedness and show them the importance of stocking up on things that are critical like water. The response has been incredible. I mean, within a few minutes, all of the pallets that we brought to the sites were gone, which is great because it means that we were able to successfully get the word out, and it also means that people are thinking about, okay, I need to stock up, I need to be prepared even this far out from hurricane season.
Oh, giving away water is a good thing, man. It's like giving away to people and you will get it back in return, baby. This event is a very good event.
And the next phase will be a repeat of a project that we did last year. We handed out tote bags door to door to seniors and low-income families and homebound people and people that just lived in the disparate parts of the island. And those tote bags had preparedness information, information about the resources that are still available for recovery, and just some good tips from places like FEMA and VITEMA with how to prepare going into the season. This year we're going to recreate that program, but we're going to step it up a little bit, and there's going to be some items in the bags for people. So we're ordering, I think, 1,200 bags, and so far it's looking pretty good for what we're going to have in there. I know for sure we're going to have solar-powered Lucy lights provided by Empowered, so those are those inflatable solar-powered lights, and we're still working on what else we're going to put in there, but we want to kind of make it a little bit more special this year.
Congratulations to the organizers. Well, on St. Croix last week, we reported on the tenants of the JFK Housing Terrace being asked to relocate. This is in the middle of plans to reconstruct and modernize the public housing community. For the most part, residents agree that their units need to be reconstructed. However, under the Virgin Islands Housing Authority, only one more public housing community remains in Christiansted, and most of the JFK residents were given housing options in Frederiksted, on the other side of the island. News 2's Stephanie Brown has more.
And I don't want to go Williamslight. I don't want to go Suffolk Valley. I know about the place because nobody doing nothing.
Louis Brown.
Huh?
Louis Brown or quite good.
No, I don't want to go.
The John F. Kennedy Terrace housing community is set to be torn down and rebuilt. Residents in the community have been provided relocation options, but even though tenants agreed that their units should be modernized, the proposed housing locations for some are displeasing.
The overall goal is to make sure that the residents of Christiansted are not permanently located in West.
Tenants received letters from the Virgin Islands Housing Authority informing that 205 units are available to relocate to. JFK tenants are also being provided with housing choice vouchers.
There's also an opportunity for the voucher program, Section 8. Those individuals are able to qualify for those. You'll be moved to the top of the list. You'll move to the top of the list, and what they're doing is incentivizing the landlords so that you could be given some priority.
With soaring rental prices, housing voucher holders have expressed on social media platforms that in many instances, their vouchers weren't enough to secure housing in the current rental market, and one JFK resident expressed his reluctance to receive a voucher.
These people are come to fix same time for the hurricane. When they go to the landlord, right? The landlord when they want to deal with the landlord, they want to deal with it. They rather deal with these people that come from the America because they're giving more money. Okay. They're giving more money.
That is true.
Listen, I see this for my own self. People talking about.
Earlier this month, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, announced its approval of the U.S. Virgin Islands' latest Disaster Recovery Action Plan, which will invest an additional $779 million to help the territory continue to rebuild from Hurricanes Maria and Irma. especially addressing damaged housing, businesses, and infrastructure.
Is that through housing, they're providing a $50,000 voucher to individuals who have an apartment that need to be fixed. With the understanding that when they give you the $50,000, that you got to rent it to the housing authority for 5 years.
Senator Kurt VLA, along with Senator Novell Francis, stated that they inquired with Robert Graham, the Virgin Islands Housing Authority executive, on the reconstruction of one of St. Croix's largest public housing communities, and timelines were established.
In fact, Chabarit is slated to start the rebuild process. They're going through the process right now, and they'll start to build out Chabarit in 2021. All right, that's in 2 years. Finish it, it'll be completed by 2021.
Until the Chabarit housing community is completed, residents of JFK have slim options in remaining in Christiansted. For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
According to the Housing Authority, JFK residents can choose between 3 moving assistance programs. The programs include contracted movers, reimbursement for moving on your own, or a lump sum reimbursement for out-of-pocket expenses. All tenants are required to move within a year's time. If you missed Afternoon on the Green at UVI on Sunday, we've got the highlights. This year's theme was Rebuilding Our Dream in 2019, and the organizers did not disappoint. There was something for everyone. Food and music and performances. There were mocha jimbies and a car show. The UVI golf course was packed with families and children. There were lots of tents offering food in various categories, and there was that grill section that we were talking about on Friday. This year, organizers also honored local disc jockey Tony T. Here's more.
And we are honoring him today from the Afternoon on the Green Committee for his many years of invaluable contribution to our event.
Tony, you've done a wonderful job for us throughout the years. This is just thanking you for all that you've done. This is not a retirement. This is just a little thank you. Okay, so I'll let Dr. Hall say a few words and then let you say a few words afterwards.
On behalf of the entire university community, board of trustees, faculty, staff, and students, we want to present this token of our appreciation to the voice that is UVI and the voice that is this community. And thank you for your years of service, and we look forward to much, much more in the future. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Hall. Thank you, Mitchell, Loretta, Kaiser, the whole Afternoon on the Green Committee. Man, look, this is my family out here. I have my radio family, my friends, real family. This is my family out here. And this event is one that brings family, friends, food, and fun together for a great cause, to keep students in our university. And I am just truly grateful, surprised, beyond belief when Kaiser called with the news. And I just want to express my heartfelt thanks to the university for this recognition. Thank you. Tony, 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 Tony!
Congratulations to the organizers. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
Good evening. I hope you had a wonderful day today, and happy Monday to you. The weather, it's looking pretty good. Take a look at this satellite. Not much going on here. You might notice a few clouds around, perhaps a light trade wind shower popping up from time to time. But other than that, it's looking pretty good out there. Now, we do have some rough seas, and that's just because of some convergence happening here. The trade winds, they are moderate right now. So expect to see a trade wind shower popping up, 75 degrees. And not the best boating conditions either. St. John, 84 tomorrow, a shower in spots tomorrow. In St. Thomas, expect to see some sunshine, but also a shower popping up at 84 degrees, and St. Croix reaching 87 with perhaps a light shower. Now, if you want to do some boating, again, not the best conditions. Northern Puerto Rico, we do have some rip current advisories out there. It's pretty rough. And for the Atlantic side, small craft use caution advisories are in place. The waves are 4 to 6 feet, and the winds, they're coming out of the southeast, around 10 to 15 knots. The Caribbean side, again, not the best boating conditions. Small craft use caution. Waves 4 to 6 feet, and the winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 knots. Now this week should remain pretty nice. We will see some sunshine each day, but we could also see a shower popping up in spots through Thursday. Friday will be a drier day with some sun, and our temperatures are pretty consistent, getting just a little bit warmer from 84 degrees to 85 by midweek. Have a great night.
Thank you for that. Now stick around. News 2 Sports with Gary Anthony. That's coming up next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. What do you get with a fresh box of baseballs, a brand new lineup sheet, and a clean batter's box? Well, how about the opening of Little League baseball season? On Saturday, the Elmo Plaskett Little League East began its season the way baseball should begin, with a parade. Led by the St. Croix Complex Barracudas marching band, the Little Leaguers dressed in their uniforms paraded their way from Christiansted Fort to the D.C. Canagator Ballpark. There are currently 12 teams participating this year, but that number might increase. Upon reaching the ballpark, all the teams lined up in the infield for the opening ceremonies and congratulatory remarks regarding the upcoming season.
But it's so good to see Little League Baseball return to the Big Island here on St. Croix. I'm wishing nothing but the best for you all and making sure that we come out with the best product and give back to this community as this community gives to us. Because again, Little League is about the parents, about the volunteers, about your coaches, and about the camaraderie that you're going to gain. What you're going to gain here as a youngster playing in Little League, you're going to take it to the future of your life and throughout your entire life. So enjoy the 2019 season. It's a pleasure to see it kicking off, and again, I'm emotional to see it come back here to the island of St. Croix.
I personally want to thank both boards, Elmo Plastic East and West. When I was placed in the acting position 2 months ago, one of my first meetings was with both boards, and they got on my back to get some work done. We was able to get both parks up. We did a lot of work down in the West, but after being off a year, like I said, I shared the same sentiments as everybody. It's glad to see baseball back in St. Croix. Enjoy this experience.
The first game featured the 7 to 9 age group as the Lil Yankees defeated the Spartans 15-3. In other action, in softball, the Lady Lions over NCLB 10-9, and in Pee Wee action, the Diamond Girls, an all-girls team, beat the Panthers 14-12. There was almost a huge upset in the NCAA tournament yesterday as number 1 overall seeded Duke squeaked by the University of Central Florida 77-76. With 14.4 ticks on the clock, Duke freshman Zion Williamson with the hoop and the foul. However, he misses the free throw, and wonder of wonders, R.J. Barrett with the putback for the 1-point lead. Last seconds, and UCF gets 2 chances, but they can't convert. And Duke survives to move on to the Sweet 16. That's it for sports. April, back to you.
1, 2, 3,
Thank you for that, Gary. And that's it for our show tonight. Remember, we're live on Facebook and YouTube Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m., as well as on via Channel 4 and 504. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at News2VI or Instagram at TV2USVI. Tag us on any stories you want to see on the news. Send us a message on Messenger or email us at newsdirector@tv2.vi. Thanks again for joining us on News 2. I'm April Knight. We'll see you next time.